Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Halloween at the Manor. Um, I'm actually going to be starting a new project today, but I am down here in the basement of the manor to start because I wanted to preface this video by saying that the project we're doing today is we're going to build a coffin coffee table for a friend of ours. She asked me if I would do it, and I said yes. So there are some certain specifications that she asked for. The coffin is going to be 4 feet long, and I'm going to make it 30 inches at the peaks. But what I wanted to do is before I started to go out into the laboratory and build it, I wanted to show you guys that there are other ways to do it. So when I built our coffin coffee table here at the manor, what Vanessa and I both wanted was we wanted the coffee table to look like there was an actual real coffin in the room. So as you can see here, this is our coffin coffee table in our basement. Now, I built this using the 2x2 inch wood and plywood, and I'm going to build the coffin coffee table today the same way. However, there are different ways that you can do this. If you didn't want it to look like this, like a full-size coffin, you can do it where you make the coffin, let's say, half this size. So for instance, the height of this, I think what I did is these are like 14 and a half inches high. So the total height from the top to the bottom is roughly like 20 inches. You have to add, there are layers there, plus the lid. So you could basically make this in half, right? So if you did this half the size that I'm going to do it today, and then let's say you made a stand and you put the coffin on top of that stand, that's another way that you could do it. Also, on the one that we're going to do today, we're going to put a lid on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that that our friend can actually store things inside of it. But if you didn't want to do that, you don't have to put a lid on it. You basically could just build over top of it. Like I said, there are many different ways to do it. Like I said, I use 2x2 inch wood, but you could use 1x8, 1x10, 1x12 to make the coffin. It's really up to you how you want to do it, but you can watch this video and get some ideas on how to do that. And that's why I just wanted to preface first before we start to build this thing. So the first step for the coffin coffee table is what we're going to do is we're going to kind of set up the this plywood here is going to be the floor. I call it the floor of the coffee table. So this is 5mm plywood, and if you saw my video that I did on the coffin bookshelf, this is the same stuff I used. Like I said in that video, this costs about $15 for an 8x4 feet sheet at Lowe's, and it's very nice and it's very thin. But what we're going to do is we're getting the dimensions set up here. So since there are specific dimensions, this right here is a 4x4 sheet of plywood. So this is going to be 4 feet long, and it's going to be 30 inches at the peak. And then the top part here is going to be 15. This is, I believe, 16 and a half. You can see here that this down to here is going to be roughly 32 and 3/4 inch. And then the bottom here, I'm going to make about 13 inches. So that's what we're going to do first, and then this is going to be kind of like our template to build the frame. So what we did is we cut out our frame, we cut out our shape on the plywood, and I just used a miter saw. So that is what we're doing now, and now what we're going to do is we're going to build the frame around this. We have the frame built here, and we attach it to the plywood. So this is going to be this is the very bottom of it, and then when you flip it over here, this is going to be the floor of the coffin table. So looks pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build the second frame, which is going to be the top of it. So if you saw my coffin bookshelf video, what I mentioned in there is what I like to do is when I'm making a coffin shaped anything, the hardest thing for me is to actually get this shape. So once I have one frame completed, and I know that I like it and it works, what I do is when I make the second frame, I actually drill this second frame into the first frame. And then once I'm finished and I know that I have it equal to the first frame, I'll pull all these screws out and we'll have a second frame that's the same exact size as the one we built here. That's just what I like to do. All right, so we have our second frame built. As you can see, it's attached to the first one. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take these screws out and we will have two frames. And this is gonna be the top of the Coffin coffee table. So what we'll do is when the sides go up, this will be what's laying on the top of it. So now what we're doing is we're gonna start putting the 2x2 pegs up to start to build the Coffin coffee table upright. So these two pegs that you see here, these are actually going to be 14.75 inches, so 14 3/4 inches. And that'll make this coffee table about 18 inches high, and then we'll have a lid on it too, and then I'll probably put it around like maybe 20 inches high. So we have all of the pegs up now, and all of these are 14 3/4 of an inch high. And there is a reason why I put them so close together, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the frame on top of this to make sure that everything leveled out and everything is stayed the same shape. We got the frame on now, so we got the nice shape here of it. And what's good to know is that this is perfectly level, which is awesome. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of 2x2 going across here on both sides. That is going to be done because we want to put handles on this thing. So that's going to be right in the middle, and we're going to put handles on it. So we basically have the frame built now. So I added 2x2 inch here for the handles, but then I decided, you know what, let me just reinforce this. So I put 2x2 inch all around the middle here as well. And this is just going to give this a nice reinforcement here. Was it needed? Probably not for this size of coffee table, but I had the wood and I just decided to do it. So the next step we're going to start doing is we're going to put the plywood inside the coffin. That's why I have these really close together, because I want to have something to actually bolt the plywood to, and I don't want to have a huge gap. So that's why I kept these really, really close together, so that when we butt up the two pieces of plywood for the interior, they're going to be really tight. And we're not going to need to put any wood fill or anything in there because they should be right up against each other. So that's what we're going to be doing next. So we got the inside of the coffin done. Coffin coffee table done. So all that is completed. So now we're going to start working on the outside. So I have been working on getting the plywood around the outside of the Coffin coffee table, and I'm finished that now. That took a while. So I'm done that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build the lid, and then after the lid is completed, then I'm going to work on the handles. I built the lid as well, and what I like to do is, so I built the wood, the bottom is 2x2, and then I use the plywood, and then I like to put this trim on it. And I think this is 1 inch, trim. I think it costs like $1 something over at Lowe's for an 8-foot piece, but I like to do that. So right now, I think I'm pretty much done the building part. I have to put in holes for the handles, and then I have to start cleaning this up with like sanding and wood filling and stuff. But I think we're off to a really, really good start here on the first day. What I did today is I got up and I started to wood fill everything in. So here's the lid. So this is going to be wood filled in here. And then here's the actual base. And I went through and I wood filled all that. So I honestly think that it's so hot out today. This is probably already dry. I think I'm going to be able to sand this thing down and start painting it already. This actually might be done today. Day 3 of the Coffin coffee table build, and we are actually completed. I apologize that I didn't get more video of yesterday. I did show video of me having everything sanded down. However, the rest of it was just me painting, which is pretty much boring. And then we have putting on some of the hardware and stuff. But here is the finished product. So this is our friend's coffee table that I built for her, and then this is ours. Now, I used the same exact wood 2x2 inch wood and the plywood that I used on that, I used on this for ours. The only difference is I think ours is like 5.5 feet, whereas she asked if we could make it 4. So that's really the only difference. But we'll go and get a closer look here. And I bought these handles at Lowe's, and they were, I believe, 4 something a piece. Now, if you're interested in to know how much this cost roughly about $150 to build. So wasn't super expensive, and it took me about maybe 18, 19 hours to do the whole project from beginning to end. So about $150 in cost and about 19 hours of actual work time. But so why don't we go and open this up? This is actually kind of cool, and it's got that really creepy sound when you open it up as well. But what we decided to do is we decided to make this storage for our friend, so she can actually store things in here. As you can see here, Sam Hain is extremely interested in what we're doing. This is actually 16 inches high. And what's funny too is that I mentioned Sam Hain is that the friend that we built this for, she's actually his godmother. But anyway, we built this so that there's storage in there as well, because she lives currently in an apartment. So give her a little bit extra storage as well. I did run into some issues yesterday with the hardware, specifically this right here. I'm going to call this like a lid locker. What ended up happening is when I was putting this on, I originally started attaching it to the frame of the coffin. However, when I would close it, it was grinding against the wall in here. So what I ended up having to do is I ended up having to put another piece of 2x2 inch wood here and here on the lid as well. Now, I know it doesn't look the greatest, but it was one of those things where it was, function over look. And by doing that, that was able to stop the grinding. So, this is not only could be a coffee table. This actually could be, I know this sounds kind of messed up, but this could be, if you're into, like, if you're gothy and you have kids that are like that, this could be a nice toy box for them as well. But anyway, that is the Coffin coffee table project. It is completed, and it is Sam Hain approved. What do you think, buddy? So that was the Coffin coffee table project. We hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys are enjoying the content we're putting out here. We are planning on doing, maybe in the next week or two, some reviews on some of our animatronics. Try to get away from maybe some of this building projects and give you something a little bit different. But we just want to say that Vanessa and I both appreciate you guys watching. If you like what we're doing here on the channel, please subscribe. If you like this video in particular, please hit the like button. Also, if you want to know when we upload a video right away, all you have to do is hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button. Again, Vanessa and I really appreciate you guys watching. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.